Do you own or work at a small or medium tourism business badly in need of cash because of COVID? Well, EXIM Bank is dispersing over $1 billion to help you upgrade for the post-COVID world. I'm Kalila Rouse, and this is Money Moves JA, brought to you by EXIM Bank's Business Advisory Service, giving you the tools to grow your business. Today I'm joined by EXIM's Managing Director, Lisa Bell, and make sure you watch to the end because I have a giveaway coming up. Hi, Mrs. Bell. Grateful to have
Hi.
you. Sorry to interrupt your vacation
I wish.
on your
I wish
island there.
I could always work in this environment would be good. An
Would be
environment that looked like this.
but wear a swimsuit, man.
Coming next go round.
Okay, but it's an appropriate location for this interview because we're talking about the GOJ's Care Package Tourism Grant Program, which is being implemented by EXIM Bank. So tell me about what the offering is.
All right, let me step back a little bit so your listeners can kind of put it into perspective. As you know, the government of Jamaica is very aware of all of the hardships taking place, particularly in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. And tourism is one of those sectors that have been affected, probably I would say most, by this pandemic for obvious reasons. Accordingly, the government has tried to put in a number of different stimulus packages that are set to assist in different areas. So I'm sure some of your listeners have heard about the Best Cash program, the Set Cash program, and other interventions. Well, this particular intervention is a part of that broader care program and is targeting tourism enterprises who have been suffering for the last many months under the effects of the pandemic.
Okay, so how much is available for persons to apply for companies that have been affected to apply for?
I am very pleased to tell you that it's $1.2 billion that has been allocated that will be disbursed to successful beneficiaries under the program. Clearly, that amount is going to be dependent on each application. The amount of each award is dependent on each application. But we're using what is called a call for proposal mechanisms, where the application period remains open from September 1 through to September 30th. And then the applications are assessed and the awards made shortly thereafter. So we are hoping that sometime by the second week of October, we'd be able to start making awards.
So when you say call for proposals, so this is not just to plug the hole and pay your employees to stay afloat necessarily. You have to actually present a proposal of what you're going to do with the cash. How does this work?
Okay, how it works is that it's not a panacea. It really is some assistance being given, one, to kind of mitigate some of the effects of the COVID recovery. Most entities operating in this sector have little or no revenue, so it's to help in that regard. But more importantly than providing the relief, it is to get you ready for when the sector begins to thrive again. Tourism is luckily one of those industries, what we call a V, where even though you've gone down, once the factor which caused you to go down is taken care of, you'll see a quick rebound. And even so, we're very, very hopeful that the tourism sector will rebound once the factors are put in place. And in fact, there are many tourism entities reporting very slow, but beginning to see bookings and take up. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that all the entities in that arena are actually prepared. Because of course, pre-COVID and post-COVID is an entirely different situation.
So
there's need for sanitization protocols, training of employees, social distancing mechanisms to be put in place. And we want to be ready to make sure our entities are ready in that regard. So
So
these
these are the
funds are
types of things that you expect applicants to use the funds for.
absolutely. What are the projects that you need either have started to do, have completed because there is a reimbursement component, and I'll come back to that, or the projects that you will need to do in order to be able to be up and ready and raring to go.
And that would make it different from what was offered previously under the CARE program in the initial stages in March, where the money was just intended to help keep you afloat, to keep you open.
Exactly, exactly. So the things that we're looking at is we will provide some operational support, which what we call working capital, for things like payroll, rents, and utilities. But those invoices must be dated um, after April 1, 2020 to be eligible. In other words, we're trying to help you with what the effects of COVID are. So it would be expenses that you've incurred between April and September. It also will look at staff training because many of our human resources in that arena will need to be aware of the new protocols in respect of social distancing. It will include payments to local suppliers, purchasing of protective equipment and contactless technology. And I really like to talk about contactless technology because it's something we had brought to the market last year as EXIM and now has become incredibly important in the context of the
Stuff that you don't
tourism
need to
sector.
touch, like the no-touch hand
Absolutely,
sanitizers, automatic door
absolutely,
openers.
absolutely. I remember EXIM had a in partnership with Digicel, had actually hosted a forum targeting the tourism sector, which saw, was introducing the technology where you literally would get your room key on your phone and would be able to walk into a hotel, past the front desk, walk straight up to your door and open your door with phone technology. Back then, it was something that was seen to be unnecessary and probably exorbitant.
And
It
look at
right
us now.
now, absolutely, how a year can change things. So we
Mhm.
are encouraging enterprises to look at those kinds of technologies that are going to make them more competitive. Because think about it, if you're a tourist visiting a location, you're going to choose your location based on where you can be safe. So we are really, really hoping that our enterprises really make the investments in relation to those kinds of things. Expansion in where you have to modify your operations, modify your building, your structures in relation to social distancing. Those are the kinds of things that we would be providing the grant to support. And the development of collateral material to communicate with your guests specifically about things relating to social distancing. So those are the areas we're hoping to cover, and we're encouraging people to get their applications in. One of the other key
When is the deadline?
September 30th, but you don't have to wait till September 30th.
Right, don't wait till the last minute.
We're definitely encouraging possible applicants to get their application in early. You can visit our website on eximbankjamaica.com and you'll see it. The first thing you pop open, you will see it.
And
But
you
the
said
one
these
thing,
are grants, right? These are not loans, these are grants.
absolutely, let me say it again. These are grants, not loans. I know you're normally used to seeing me in the context of promoting loans that the bank may offer, but this is a grant. But the other useful thing is that we're saying to potential applicants, if you know that the funding of this project is significant and clearly not likely to be covered by a grant program that is targeting the whole industry, EXIM is still available. Remember, we do have our tourism loan program, which is targeting small and medium-sized enterprises who operate in the tourism space, which is still being offered at the lowest rate in the market, which is 4.5%, and is being offered for working capital as well as capital expenditure. So I want to encourage, even if you don't get as much as you wanted on the grant through the grant program, the loan program is still there to subsidize.
Understood. Well, you hear it, viewers, listeners, apply
Well,
by the
sorry,
30th.
Kalila, let me
You have
just
another
mention
point?
one other thing. Yes, it's important because we keep getting this question about who is eligible. And
Yes.
even though it's listed on our website, I want to let your listeners know exactly who is eligible. We are giving preference to small and medium tourism enterprises, but those who are operating in the following sectors: apartments, attractions, bike and car rental companies, guest houses, homestays, hotels, tour operators, water sports operators, inbound merchants, travel agencies, villas, and entities approved by the Ministry of Tourism under the Fiscal Incentives Act. Those are the specific areas, because we know tourism is a very broad, what we
Yes.
call a super sector. And what the focus is here on this particular grant is on these entities. It's not a be all and end all, and I'm hoping there have been other programs that have been targeting other areas, but it's important that you understand which entities are targeted and what the requirements are. All that information, everything I've said, plus more information, specifically what the eligibility criteria will be, are on our website. I'm going to encourage your listeners to go through the documentation. I'm also encouraging you to go through the frequently asked questions. We've been kind of polling questions that we've been getting and trying to collate them so that we can make sure we answer as much as possible, and go through the process. And our officers are available online. We have a chat as well as by phone number to answer any questions you have. But we close on September 30th, and therefore it's going to be very important that you start your application now.
Thanks again, Mrs. Bell. All the best.
To you too, Kalila.
And take a little dip for me.
I will. Right after this, I'm going in.
Here's a quick summary of the COVID-19 Tourism Grant. Apply for cash to upgrade your facilities with touchless technology, expand for social distancing, and other things needed in the post-COVID world. Get reimbursed for changes you've made since April 1 or for operational support. Accommodations, tour operations, and attractions get priority funding and apply before the deadline on September 30. Time now for our giveaway question. What shape did Mrs. Bell say they hope the recovery for tourism will look like? Answer on EXIM Bank's Instagram page at EXIMBankJA. That's it for this episode of MoneyMovesJa, brought to you by EXIM Bank's Business Advisory Service, giving you the tools to grow your business. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Stay safe.